Okay, perfect.
Okay, we're going to get started. Call this meeting to order. This meeting of the Seguin Independent School District has been duly called, and notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with Texas Open Meetings Act, Section 551.043 of the Texas Government Code. We will start with the pledges to the United States and Texas flag. And tonight, we have a guest doing those. It is Eduardo Martinez Munoz, a fifth grader at Rodriguez Elementary.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Papi.
Thank you. Right, so this is the time for superintendent announcements. You'll probably notice that we are missing Dr. Vigil. She's under the weather. She's not here under doctor's orders, so our lovely director of communication, Emily Allen, is going to read the announcements.
I'm going to read these as Dr. Vigil intended, so please bear with me. It's nice to see everyone after a busy start to our spring semester, which has felt more like winter these last few days. I hope everyone stayed safe and warm. Our team has been working hard these past few weeks to continue our efforts from last semester. We know bullying and mental health are key priorities in our community, and we are committed to them as well. I want to make everyone aware of the steps that are taking place. Our school counselors met recently to discuss opportunities for social emotional learning on their campuses to address bullying specifically. We are also in the process of hiring 2 mental health counselors to give us 5 total on staff. Interviews, I believe, have already taken place this week. Several schools are also participating in the Great Kindness Challenge next week to encourage kindness and compassion. The high school will offer the first of 4 Leadership Academy sessions starting tomorrow morning, open to all students and staff before school. Seguin High School is now offering monthly mindfulness events, which started last week with Take a Brain Break, in which students and staff created origami fidget toys. The school is also adding anchor boxes, a suicide prevention toolkit, which will be available to students in the coming weeks. Some of our student leaders also worked with our mental health counselor and communities and schools team to help organize and share, mental health resources with their classmates. Student Services, ACE, and the Whole Child Initiatives team are working on a new family event for the semester. There is more to come on that. We also have the students here who lead the Superintendent Student Advisory team. They're going to present their plans to get involved and lead the way for their younger counterparts. I am excited for you to hear from them. Even with just a few weeks back in school, our students and teachers have juggled quite a bit with academics and extracurricular activities. The work continues to prepare our students for upcoming assessments and STAR testing, which will be here before we know it. I hope Dr. Hastings will correct me if I'm wrong on this, but as of today, we have 35, yes, 35 students at Mercer Blumberg Learning Center who have all completed their graduation requirements this school year. It's pretty awesome. I heard some clapping. I'm right about that, yes, 35?
36.
36, see, even better. What a huge achievement for these students, Dr. Hastings, and the MBLC staff. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you to all involved in Friday's musical celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. What a wonderful opportunity for our elementary and high school choir students, and a special occasion for our community. Friday, we also welcomed the family of Aurelia R. Rodriguez to her namesake school, Rodriguez Elementary. I joined her daughter, granddaughter, grandson-in-law, and great-granddaughters for a campus tour. I enjoyed the stories they shared about Mrs. Rodriguez with the school's 5th grade students. I also attended our district Spanish spelling bee last week. Our students did a great job, and I am excited for those moving to the next level. Congratulations to our students who recently participated in the TMEA All-Region Band Concert, the UIL State of Texas Cheerleading Competition, UIL Theater, and the Guadalupe County Youth Show. We are matador proud of you for representing Seguin ISD. Basketball, powerlifting, and soccer are already underway, but several sports are about to start, including baseball, softball, track, and field. We hope everyone will join us for Meet the Mats early next month as we cheer on our Matadors in the spring 2025 season. There is much to be excited about and look forward to in Seguin ISD. I'm very proud of our students for continuing to work hard toward their goals and showing everyone what it means to be a Matador. We are one team, learning together, elevating excellence. A vital part of that team is our Board of Trustees, who we honor tonight during School Board Recognition Month. We are grateful for their dedication, leadership, support, and time. Our trustees represent Seguin ISD, some as graduates, some as parents, and some as community members who truly have a heart for our district, our students, and our staff. Your work does not go unnoticed, and our campuses, as you can clearly see, want to show their gratitude for everything that you do. Thank you for being here to represent our families and our community. Hold on to this. Thank you. All right, next we have board member reports. Mr. Burke.
Good evening. Starting off the new year, the trustees and a lot of several of the schools, specifically McQueenie, really kind of took the lead on this, was doing a reading competition. It is in the format of the Final Four for the basketball bracket style system. And so I started my year off reading to Rodriguez today, and it was great. I got to go in there and do see the EA kids, do some reading with them, walk around the campus, and it was great. That's it so far.
I'm going to piggyback off of what Josh said, is that I want to start, I think really a highlight of our district right now has to be actually our drum line at the high school, who participates in many events. This last month at McQueenie, the drum line showed up and surprised all the students there. And there's just something about the drum line that just makes everything more fun. And so it was both with the reading, and I'm excited to be able to be in the schools with reading. And then also, the drum line also waved away the Seguin High School cheerleaders on their way to Dallas to UIL. And that drum line just brings a special just funness to it. So it was awesome.
Good evening. I attended the three construction sites. We started off in McQueenie, and I was in one of the meetings, construction meetings, and they gave me a tour. If y'all haven't got a chance to drive by that location, that elementary school is coming up very fast. Barnes Middle School is also coming up as far as the construction. It's on track. And the transportation department, as you can tell by all the buses parked out here, they're also working on that to complete that one. I also attended the district Spanish spelling bee competition. It was great, and the winners will be advancing to the Region 20 competition.
Well, since I'm new to this, I've been attending a bunch of trainings. And then I also got to go to the Spanish spelling bee, which was really great. The young man, or excuse me, young lady from Rodriguez won, and that was very exciting and very interesting to see how challenging those words were for those young individuals. So, anyways, and I'm starting to do some reading at the campuses as well.
I was so happy and filled my heart with joy to attend the tribute to Martin Luther King at the high school PAC last week. Yes, it was last week. I've been through a lot since then, but last week, and all the choirs from throughout the district came together to perform. And one thing that stuck out to me, there was a quote about leadership, and I'll read it. Great leaders make their vision infectious. They inspire others not to just see the world as they do, but also to feel compelled to make that shared vision a reality. Something that we're all committed to doing up here. So that was inspiring for me. I'm also looking forward to start the reading challenge in the Final Four. Maybe Lisa, you can tell the folks more about it, but we're competing against other districts. And so we'll see how far we make it. And each one of us, I think, we're all going to try to go and rack up some points by reading to our students. So looking forward to that.
I'd like to celebrate two things that I attended in this past month. And the first one was to be to the Final Four where the third graders at Queenie won in their bracket out of, what was it, 300 schools. So they are one of 68 schools that get to start all over again. The slate is wiped clean and they get to start reading again and see if they can make it into the next bracket. So we are rooting them on, and such a wonderful thing is since I'm a retired English teacher, it just warms my heart to see these guys all reading. So that's awful cool. I also had the privilege of attending the program when the Aurelia Rodriguez family came to visit. Principal Santiago did a great job of hosting the family with a tour of the facility, which I enjoyed then myself, and there was a presentation that the family did, showed wonderful photographs, and then we had refreshments and we got to sit and talk for a while, just one-on-one. So those were two of my highlights. And yes, I started reading today to my grandchildren. They said it counted, so that helped. And tomorrow I started reading in the library and reading the first graders. I'm excited about that.
All right, everything that I had, some was mentioned, so I'll go through them quickly. I got to see all the cheerleaders. And not only was it exciting to see the cheerleaders and their parents and supporters, but to see the dance team and the drum line and the different people who came out. I love the way that our students support each other, and it's impressive. I really enjoyed the MLK celebration, seeing all the choirs, and then I went on the same visit to Rodriguez, and that was so interesting to hear all about Aurelia Rodriguez and what she meant to our community. And then, so I'll explain the reading challenge. We have been challenged through the Bexar County School Board Coalition, and we get credit for all the minutes that we read to kids. And those can be through 12th graders, so high schoolers, if y'all want to convince your teachers to have us come read, we'll do it. So it's any grade, it's through February 13th, if I remember correctly, and then we start another round. So we really don't want to get eliminated in this first round. We really want to make it into that second round and keep reading all the way through the Final Four in 8 minutes.
Just credit that one more. I don't know how I spaced it because it happened today, but the Guadalupe County Youth Stock Show is going on right now at the Coliseum. Great. So far we've had a lot of great appearances talking to the FFA teacher, and it's going to be a really good year for Seguin FFA and 4-H and junior FFA, so we're really looking forward to those results, and hopefully seeing something next month during the board meeting for all that. So we're doing real well down there, and cows wrap up tomorrow. Today was ag mechanics and home gate goods, and then auction on Saturday.
Thank you. Next Next, we have student, staff, board, and community recognition.
Which is pretty much all me. All right, we have 4 students of the month this month. Our superintendent students of the month joining us tonight are from McQueenie Elementary, Rodriguez Elementary, A.J. Briesemeister Middle School, and Mercer Blumberg Learning Center. I believe the only one I haven't seen, I hope he's here. We start with Anthony Macias Jr. He's a kindergarten student in Miss Garcia's class at McQueenie Elementary. Woo! Ms. Garcia says that Anthony is an exceptional student, a beacon of kindness and support for his classmates with impeccable manners, and a deep sense of pride in his school. Anthony's parents are Raquel Sendejo and Anthony Macias Sr. Congratulations, Anthony. Yes, thank you. I'm trying to do all the things, I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm all by myself tonight. Oh.
Emily, try to get one more photo.
One more? Ooh, sorry. I just like to make it entertaining for y'all. I think they're really nice. Is Eduardo Martinez Munoz, a 5th grader at Rodriguez Elementary. This campus leader is the student council president, a GT and dual language student, and a Spanish spelling bee participant who plays organized soccer. His parents are Eduardo Martinez, Melissa Munoz, and Mario Armendariz. Congratulations, Eduardo.
Thank you.
Next, I'd like to introduce Brindley Bryan from AJB Middle School. One teacher described this young lady as one of the hardest working 7th graders at AJB. Brindley is also known for being a natural leader who embraces challenges. She is in athletics and band, and she also just started playing flute this year. Her parents are Ashley and Chad Bryan. Congratulations, Brindley.
Congratulations, y'all. Appreciate you.
Our final honoree this evening is Lillian Valdez, a recent graduate of the Mercer Blumberg Learning Center. Lillian is known as a positive influence on her classmates and an active participant on campus who worked very hard to graduate. Her principal, Dr. Hastings, says she made strong efforts on her final test and got positive results. What an achievement. Her parents are Amanda and Joseph Valdez. Congratulations, Lillian. Right over here. All right, one last round of applause for our January Superintendent Student Promotion. All right, you have me a little longer, I'm sorry. We're going to turn it over to the Apple Award. So I'm going to read this also for Dr. Beheel, so these are her words. Being a good teacher requires having a servant's heart, and I know this month's Superintendent Apple Award winner is a shining example. This month, I'm proud to honor and recognize a longtime Matador who grew up here, raised their family here, and continues to help educate future generations. This Seguin High School graduate served in the U.S. Air Force for over 30 years and has spent the last 17 working in Seguin ISD. I want to take a moment to recognize this person's military service, which included a deployment while working in Seguin. Thank you for your service. Over nearly 2 decades, this month's recipient has worked with students from kindergarten to 12th grade. Their teaching career started with substitute teaching at AJB, where they moved into teaching science full-time, then technology at Weiner, followed by Seguin High School before moving to Barnes just a few years ago. It is at Barnes where he has helped students truly soar to new heights. Earlier this school year, he helped 60 8th grade students become fully licensed recreational drone pilots. They even had a 100% passing rate. These students passed the same FAA exam required for all recreational drone pilots in the US. What a wonderful accomplishment. As a robotics and technology teacher, he is helping open new doors for our students. These opportunities set our students up for success far beyond middle school, and we are grateful to this teacher for sharing their knowledge and talents with all of them. It is my honor, mine as well, to introduce our January Superintendent Apple Award recipient, Troy De Palermo. we would be happy to share it with you. Yes, ma'am.
So I just want to point it out for everybody that's here right now. There's actually 2 generations of Seguin ISD teachers up there in that picture, and it's pretty amazing.
And I just have to say, go class of 1987.
Congratulations, thanks for your service and your efforts, sir.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. Okay, sorry, still me. Everybody good? Okay. President Crittenden, trustees, we have some very special guests tonight from our Superintendent Student Advisory Team. Again, for Dr. Beal. I have the privilege of working with the 26 students on this team who represent the schools across our district. Tonight, the student officers who help lead this group are here to share their plans for getting involved and making a difference in Seguin ISD. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to present the officers of our Superintendent Student Advisory Team.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Leila Moreno, and I'm a freshman at Seguin High School. So today, okay, yeah. So like I was saying, so my name's Leila Moreno. I just said that. But we are the Seguin Superintendent Student Advisory Team. And so today we're going to present what we do for our district. So I'm going to start by letting the officers introduce themselves. We have...
Hi, my name is Eleanor Crittenden, and I represent the advisory team as the social media chair.
Hi, my name is Aiden Pullen. I am the secretary.
I'm Layla. I'm the event coordinator.
Hello, my name is Roxanne Diaz, and I am co-chair.
Hello, my name is Danielle Niami, and I'm communications. I will also be speaking for Mariah Casejas. Unfortunately, she's not here. She has the youth show, but she's the outreach chair.
And I'm Kayvon Mouton, and I am also a co-chair.
What is SSAT? SSAT is a Superintendent Student Advisory Team, group of selected student leaders, provides student perspective and on important issues affecting schools and the community. Platforms to share ideas, address concerns, propose solutions to improve educational experience.
One of our goals is to, this is our goals, and one of them are to amplify students' voices, provide a platform for students to share their perspective, ideas, and concern directly with district leadership to foster change within the school's community.
So another one of our goals is to enhance the collaboration and leadership among students. So we want to strengthen the connection between students and district officials by promoting meaningful dialogue and including students in decision making while providing the opportunity to take on a leadership role and position.
So next I will be talking about our latest meeting. Our last meeting was in December of 2024, and I will be sharing what we basically did in that meeting. So we had an amazing blast at our December meeting, which included team building minute-to-minute games, Gaga Ball, 9 Square, and some s'mores. We want to give a special thanks to the Seguin Independent School District Outdoor Learning Center for giving us a change of scenery for the holiday season. We had so much fun at this meeting, probably one of the most memorable. And here in these pictures, you can see us enjoying 9 Square at a different level.
So one of the things we are starting to implement this year is our mentorship program. So it is where we take the high school kids and they're paired up with some of our younger members of the advisory team, the middle school and elementary school kids. And we address concerns with each other and come up with positive solutions and just have that dialogue that kids might not want to have anywhere else and provide that for them. And so what we've been doing recently is at our last meeting, we came up with some ideas, bounced some ideas around of things we could do, and our next steps are finalizing those ideas and taking them to the next level to get them implemented. So, does anybody have any questions for us?
Just a comment. Thanks for the great work that you guys do. I know it takes a lot of time, dedication. And you will be rewarded once you get into the real world and develop a lot of good skills.
All right, I know you get to hear the concerns from the elementary students. I want to know what the most, and the questions. What's something fun that the elementary students have shared with you that you could highlight?
I have one.
You can go first.
Oh, you can go first.
One of our meetings, we actually had an elementary school student come up to us and request for more condiments in the cafeteria, specifically ranch and more ketchup. So I thought that was hilarious.
Okay, that was actually mine, and in elementary, not ranch and ketchup, but they requested for I think more salt and pepper, and we actually did get it eventually, so that was pretty amazing.
Any other questions?
I have one. Mr. Fuller, maybe you could tell us one thing you've learned about yourself and maybe your leadership type style for being involved in this group.
One of my leadership styles that I've definitely learned from being in the SSAT group is being more out there, if that makes any sense. You just do a lot of public speaking, and it just really isn't my strong suit, so it's just made me develop more in that gray area. So yeah. Any more questions, guys?
Thank you. I'm so proud of all of you because, you represent some of the brightest, shining students that we have in the district. And I can go to any event and I see your faces and you all make me smile. And I'm so glad that you go to school in Seguin, and I wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
Thank you.
I want to say one thing. You don't talk about the, condiments and things like that seem minor, but you know what? When you teach the younger students to advocate for themselves on little things, then they turn into students like you who can advocate for big things. So just know that that's a really important lesson. And when they see something happen that they've asked for, that's a game changer. So
And we wanted to say one more thing. We can say it all together. Happy School Board Appreciation Month. Thank you for being the leaders of tomorrow's Texans.
Great job. You got to go shake hands, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
We probably have time for at least one. Just one.
So Dr. Behill said y'all were going to talk about No One Eats Alone. Can you talk to us about that?
Oh, yes, so that is an initiative. Oh,
That was supposed to be the big surprise tonight.
So that is an initiative that we have been discussing at our meetings. And so basically what it would entail is that members of our team would kind of go like at each campus, we'll kind of form a club. And so if we see someone eating alone at lunch, we will go up to them and start that conversation that is needed, because we want to kind of make sure the community is like all inclusive, not everyone has someone to sit with at lunch. So that is the no one sits alone or eats alone movement that we are starting.
Okay, sorry, I know I keep hogging the mic. I'm about to stop, I promise. We have one more thing for Dr. Behill, or on Dr. Behill's behalf. This is Roxanne, who just met a moment ago. She just recently finished all of her graduation requirements at MDLC, I'm told. So, one of our 36 this year. Dr. Behill had started a tradition this last year of giving each of the seniors a cord. So, Ms. Lyons is going to present you with your cord tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. It's always wonderful to start off with hearing from people who remind us of why we do what we do. So we sometimes need that. All right, number 3 is audience with the board. The Seguin ISD board of, oh, sorry. Oh, I skipped down. Campus highlight. Ms. Miller.
I'm honored to introduce, I'm excited, trustees and audience, I'm honored to introduce our campus highlight presentation from Rodriguez Elementary, which I had the pleasure of visiting just the other day. Nearly 500 students attend Rodriguez from kindergarten to 5th grade. Some of the students also just met the family of their school's namesake, former Seguin ISD educator Oralia R. Rodriguez. Tonight, the principal, Ms. Ophelia Santiago, is here with several members of her staff to present on fostering a culture of continuous learning and shaping student leaders. Santiago, I look forward to hearing what you have to say about your things. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, President Crittenden, Board of Trustees. It is an honor to be here tonight for the first time as a proud principal of Rodriguez Elementary. We have embraced the Matador mindset, and we're going to talk to you today about how we're fostering a culture of continuous learning. I have with me today my assistant principal, Mrs. Reyes, and she's going to talk to you about how we've incorporated the Impact League, which consists of our kinder through 5th grade teacher leaders. I have our amazing 2nd grade teacher, Mrs. Crockett. She's going to talk about how we engage in peer power walks. And not only do we cultivate teacher leaders, but also student leaders, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about those opportunities. And then we have Mr. Montes, who is our ACE coordinator, from which we partner with to provide these opportunities beyond the school bell. So at the beginning of the school year, we recreated our vision and our mission. We had a series of meetings with teacher leaders and then our campus to create our vision and our mission so that we could have a shared vision where we believe that all students should have an opportunity to thrive and succeed, not only academically, but socially and emotionally as well. And it is our responsibility to foster that type of environment. We are a data-driven campus, so all of the decisions that we make are guided by our campus improvement plan. So we set goals with our campus, with our grade levels, and also with our students. So they set data trackers, they set goals after each assessment. We also collaborate with our kinder through 5th grade teachers, so they create data walls. They have vertically aligned some of our instructional non-negotiables. Our dual language teachers have also created dual language strategies that they have committed to implementing this semester. We leverage our data with instructional practices, so we create groups through our quintile reports. We also have intervention support. We look at our TEKS and we look at where students are and what students need to do to continue to grow. We look at our single test analysis so that we can share strategies with teachers. One of the ways that we teach and learn from each other is through our Impact League.
Good evening, members of the board. I'm Ms. Reyes. I'm the assistant principal at Rodriguez, and I'm also a member of the Next Generation Principal Cohort, which is a partnership with our Holdwood Center and Seguin ISD. I'm excited to talk to you about the Impact League, which again is the teacher leaders from grades kinder through 5th grade. We come together and we meet, we go over our module assessments and interim assessments. We go over that data to then create professional development for our teachers during our lunch and learns, which are provided for our teachers during their lunchtime. It is voluntary, but it is professional development that is led by teachers, so it's practical so that teachers can then follow up with them. On the next slide, you'll see some pictures from our lunch and learns. This builds a strong culture of teamwork for our campus. After our lunch and learns, we do collect feedback through surveys that then refine and improve our supports for our teachers for the next lunch and learns.
Hi, I'm Amy Condit, and okay. As teachers, we've embraced peer power walks. Peer power walks are also known as teacher learning walks. Peer power walks are short, informal observations where teachers visit each other's classrooms to observe teaching practices. Some of the great benefits to peer power walks is that it allows for us to gain professional development. It helps us foster a growth mindset as well as it helps us build a stronger school community. This year we've had the opportunity to align our K through 2 literacy stations. We've also collaborated with other campuses. 4th grade visited Vogel Elementary for purposeful planning. We've also aligned our blended learning and intervention stations in grades 4th and 5th. Overall, peer power walks is a powerful strategy that has a big impact on our campus and helps us grow as educators. But don't just take my word for it. Here are some teacher testimonials.
So we have provided some handouts of our teacher testimonials so that you can also see what our teachers feel and believe at Rodriguez. We really value teacher voice, and we provide several opportunities for them to give us feedback so that we can continue to refine our practices to help everyone grow. Not only do we cultivate our teacher leaders, but also our student leaders through opportunities and actions. We have our our 3rd through 5th grade safety patrols. They help us with morning duty and afternoon duty, and they also help us during special events. Our student council plays a huge role on our campus. They have partnered with our communities and schools and have done outreach for organizations such as the Guadalupe Jeep Club, the New Braunfels Trail Team. They've partnered with the Christian Cupboard. We've done a turkey drive, a Thanksgiving food drive, a cereal drive. We've done a community giving tree, which we helped 50 families from the Rodriguez community. Our student council is in charge of our yearbook, so they create the cover and the layout and all the pictures that go inside of our yearbook. They are also huge advocates for autism awareness. So in the spring, they sell our autism awareness bracelets, and then they give half of those proceeds to our essential academics classroom as a donation. We also have lots of opportunities beyond the bell through our ACE programs.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Mr. Montes. I have the pleasure of serving as the ACE coordinator at Rodriguez Elementary. Our ACE program focuses strongly on academics. We provide academic support after school for 4 days a week, 1 hour a day, to foster continuous student learning. I work directly with teachers and staff to ensure that ACE and any ACE activities align with the school day and campus goals. Once academics are completed, we then transition into enrichment activities such as character education, social emotional learning, and clubs. So some of the clubs that we offer are yoga club, cooking club, STEM club, and as you can see, many others. These activities give students opportunities to learn new skills and explore new interests that they may not encounter throughout the regular school day.
So one of the things that our Kindness Club is doing this coming week, they are doing a friendship bench where at recess, students can sit at the friendship bench if they don't have anyone to play with, and the students can see that someone's on the bench and they need a friend to play with, and they will come play with them. So there's several opportunities at Rodriguez. As you can see, we are cultivating a culture where everyone leads, everyone learns, and everyone grows. And we're excited to see what these initiatives will bring to the campus and how it can help us continue to grow. Thank you. Do you guys have any questions?
I want to come visit a club.
Yes. Our Dungeons and Dragons is a new one. That's a new one. Yeah. So we have that. So thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
Audience with the board. The Seguin ISD Board of Trustees designates a time for audience participation at the beginning of each meeting to hear persons who desire to make comments in accordance with board policy BED local. Those wishing to speak, sign up before the meeting, stating the concern or noting the agenda item they wish to address. Audience participation is limited to 5 minutes. The board shall not deliberate any subject that is not on the posted agenda. We have 7 speakers this evening. Our first one is Violet Bullitt, and the topic is district and community concerns.
Hello.
I'll let you know when you have 1 minute left.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Good evening to all of you. So, you guys should recognize me from the special board meeting a couple weeks ago where I introduced Craig Scott and the message he brought to the Seguin community. My child is in pre-K, and while my husband and I are newer to the area, I want to take this opportunity to ensure that the school district is set up for success. Not just for my daughter's future as she enters middle school and high school, but for all of the students who are here now. Empathy is so important. If you watch the video or listen to Craig Scott, you'll hear him speak about turning anger into determination. Many students in this district are carrying anger, not because of who they are, but because of what they're dealing with at home. And while it's often said that change starts at home, and yes, we all know that's true, what about the children whose homes won't change? What about the kids who don't have an advocate, who don't have someone fighting for them? I'm excited to hear that the superintendent and her administration are taking these concerns seriously, and I know that big changes are coming. But you, the board, have the power to make their jobs easier. You have the ability to ensure that policies are put in place to support what's already in motion. I'm someone who likes to focus on the positive. But it's frustrating when negative things continue to happen and aren't being addressed. I don't always speak at these meetings, truthfully. I get a little nervous when I do, but I'm willing to step out of my comfort zone if it means creating a better future for my daughter and a better now for the students who are here today. Craig Scott and Rachel's challenge. They're tied to the Columbine events that happened over 25 years ago. yet they're still just as relevant today as they were then. These challenges we face as a community and as a nation are rooted in broken homes, broken systems, and a lack of understanding and listening. There are people in this room, upstanding citizens, who have overcome unimaginable challenges. You don't always know what someone has endured or what they've had to face. And the truth is, many students in our district are dealing with things no child should have to face. It is our job to provide them with the tools, the support, and the opportunities to see beyond their circumstances. I encourage you all to take action on something specific. I'm asking that you put an agenda item on the next board meeting to review how assemblies are handled in our schools. Currently, many students are automatically opted out of attending assemblies, and only those who opt in can attend. This means that so many students miss out on valuable, potentially life-changing experiences. At the high school, there are over 2,000 students, yet the Performing Arts Center can't hold all of them. Assemblies need to be held in larger venues, whether that's the gymnasium, broken into smaller groups, or even at the football stadium. We need to bring in relevant, impactful speakers and events and make them accessible to all students. These assemblies need to be required with the option to opt out only for specific circumstances, not the other way around. The administration is willing to make this happen, but they can't enforce these changes or implement these ideas without your support as a board. So please, I urge you to view the policies around school assemblies, their benefits, and the importance of making them available to every student. Let's work together to create meaningful opportunities for our children. Let's stop spinning our wheels and start moving forward positively, collaboratively, and with empathy. Thank you for your time. Unified, we can lay the foundation for years to come. Also, I do have some testimonies that I would like to share with you. They were just pamphlets I will pass out to you guys, and you can review them later when you have time, okay? Thank you, guys. All right, our next speaker is Megan Strickland, and the topic is request to add agenda items. I'll let you know how.
Okay. Hey everybody, good evening. My name is Megan Strickland, and I'm proud to stand before you as a member of the leadership team for Seguin. I'm here tonight because, like many of you, I care deeply about the school district. Its students, its teachers, its administrators, and its future. First, I want to take a moment to thank those of you who have taken time out of your busy schedule to meet with us recently. These meetings we have had privately, they matter, and we don't take them for granted. For many of us, showing up means rearranging our lives, taking time off from work, using vacation days, or in my case, running straight from work across town just to be part of the conversation. But we do it because we care, and because this work is bigger than any one of us. Seguin isn't just about advocating for our own children. It's about standing up for every child in this district and community. Every teacher who feels unsupported, and every community member who wants to see positive, meaningful change. What we've learned in our short time as an organization is this. There are so many people in this district, administrators, teachers, parents, and grandparents who have incredible ideas and solutions. They simply need a safe space to share them, a space where they feel heard, valued, and respected. Tonight, I want to call for greater transparency. Specifically, I urge the board to provide the community with clear, easily accessible data on critical issues like bullying, assaults, fights, as well as lockdowns. I'm not asking for details. Just a simple chart or dashboard on the district's website that is updated regularly. Transparency like this would go a long way toward rebuilding trust with the community. It would also help us as a district and as a community understand where we need to focus resources, energy, and solutions. To help make it easy, request this on the next agenda, so all of us in this room may see this through and see how you plan to share this with the community moving forward. We are here and available to guide you with the deliverables in that agenda item. In just the past 2 weeks, I have seen firsthand the power of collaboration. When we learned about a new club forming at the high school, our team rallied. We engaged the community, and the response was overwhelming. Donations came flooding in, not just from our members, but from people across Seguin who wanted to help. Supplies, resources, and connections were offered without hesitation. The same thing happened when teachers reached out to us for help with classroom supplies and incentives for their students. We've stepped up because we believe in supporting our educators and our children. And we're here tonight because we believe that together we can make even greater strides. But we also know that there's room for improvement. Whether it's revisiting policies, launching new programs, or fostering better communication, there's work to be done inside our schools and out in the community. Safe in Seguin wants to be part of that work. We're open and eager to collaborate with you, even if it means meeting 2 of you at the same time to brainstorm, strategize, and find ways to make a difference. This isn't just about improving the school experience for our children. It's about engaging the entire community in the life and success of our school district. A stronger, more connected community means better outcomes for everyone. Students, teachers, parents, and administrators alike. We're here to support you, we're here to support our district, but we also ask that you work with us, listen to us, and recognize the immense potential of what we can accomplish together. Thank you for your time and your dedication to this district. Let's keep moving forward, one step at a time.
Our next speaker is Levi Robertson, and the topic is positive change and request to add agenda items.
I don't know if this is allowed.
I'll let you know when you have more to go.
Okay, I don't know if this is allowed, but before okay. I was hoping before you started, I don't know if I could recognize someone, or do I, is it? Okay. We'll just save it for another time. That's unfortunate. How awesome was that tonight? No one's left at the table. I got ear of that, and that's really awesome what these students are doing. Those are the type of initiatives that we really need in the district. So I'm deeply invested in the success of this district, and I'm happy to do the work necessary as a community member to help us move forward. Tomorrow, I will start communication threads with you, the board, for more detailed solutions, ideas, challenges, and communication. However, for the audience, I would like to share thoughts to encourage all of us to keep going. We are finally at a turning point, one I hoped we'd reach sooner, but I'm thankful we've arrived. There's still a lot of work to do, an insurmountable amount for the board, but I see real progress. I'm encouraged, half the board is now engaging, taking words seriously. I want to extend my gratitude to Superintendent Dr. Vahil. Every interaction I've had with her has been positive, and I can see the dedication she brings to this district. I was particularly impressed during our one-on-one yesterday when she brought together relevant admins, discussed my agenda, and facilitated a transparent and productive discussion. That level of communication and action sets the standard for what this district needs to succeed. I also want to thank Trustee Burns for all the time she is taking out of her personal schedule to help facilitate answers and understanding in person outside of this boardroom. I want to thank Dr. Murmert, Mr. Silvius, and Mrs. Moore. They've communicated their focus on seeking out relevant resources, consistently evaluating the best options to meet students' needs, and ensuring that progress is both meaningful and sustainable. It's clear they're committed to being proactive, not reactive. At AJB Middle School, Principal Guzman and Principal McFadden are doing incredible work. They've created a positive environment where teachers, students, and parents feel supported, and they're addressing challenges head on. I truly believe AJB should serve as a model for Barnes in the high school. Principal Perez has met with me, and I see good transparency beginning at the high school with her and Dr. Saldana. I also want to share the incredible things happening through Safe and Seguin. Just recently, we mobilized over $1,000 in donations to the Lawn Club at the high school, providing tools, gloves, and even a garden storage shed. This shows the power of community partnerships and what can happen when we connect people to the needs of our schools. Principal Perez called to thank us and mentioned this as the engagement from the community her and I discussed. This is just the beginning. We have leaders at companies who are eager to get involved. These partnerships can provide invaluable resources, but the district needs to improve communication and transparency to make the most of these opportunities. The administration is already working hard to amp up communication, but the board must also step up and take a more active role in engaging with the community. To continue building momentum, I urge the board to create a special board meeting no later than February, or to add these items to the next regular scheduled board meeting. Implement an invocation. Bring prayer back to board meetings. An invocation sets a tone of unity and purpose and reflects the value of this community. It's entirely legal in Texas as long as participation isn't forced, and it would demonstrate a commitment to fostering respect and shared values. I drive outside of this administrative building and pray once a week for protection, guidance, and wisdom on all this staff. Imagine the example you'd be setting allowing this to take place. Second, establish clear attendance policies for events. At the recent MLK choir celebration, it was disheartening to see parents leave after their child performed, leaving high school students to perform to an almost empty auditorium. Please consider policies requiring students and families to remain for the entirety of performances. It's a simple way to teach respect and support for one another. 3, create transparency in policy and budgeting. Make transparency a priority. Regular updates from the new Executive Director of Student Services, or Student Services and Engagement as I hope the title would reflect, should be a standing item at each board meeting. Community members deserve to see the progress being made and the challenges being addressed. This role is going to be your resource to the students and the staff that serve their needs and progress. 4, strengthen community partnerships. Review outdated board policies that limit community engagement. Many local organizations and businesses want to support the district but are hesitant because they don't know how or where their contributions will go. Updating these policies will unlock tremendous opportunities for collaboration and support. And 5, address criminal behavior. 1 minute. Work with law enforcement and the administration to crack down on students engaging in criminal behavior. The community and the district cannot afford to let these issues go unaddressed, and the board must take an active role in ensuring policies are in place to protect students and staff. This district is full of incredible people, students, teachers, staff, and leaders, who are working tirelessly to make a difference. Let's support them by prioritizing transparency, clear communication, and community engagement. I know it's hard to hear the negative, but addressing it is the only way to create lasting positive change. Thank you for those of you on the board who have engaged with us, who are listening, and who are working for the betterment of our district. To those of you that are less engaged, I urge you to reflect on why you're here and how you can contribute more. The future of this district depends on all of us working together. Thank you for your time.
Our next speaker is Caitlin Aguirre. Board action is
My call is Levi. I don't want to break it either. Okay, perfect. All right. Good afternoon. My name is Caitlin Aguirre, a member of leadership team for Safe and Seguin. I want to start by thanking you all tonight for giving me the opportunity to speak. Many of you know who I am, as I've been here before. My daughter has been here, and I have 4 children in this school district. The concerns I'm here to express run deep. As many of you are aware, but I do want to take a moment to acknowledge some of the positive changes I see on the horizon. I am really excited to see what we heard tonight be implemented and see the change that this is going to bring all the way down to the elementary school. This journey has taught me a lot about myself, about leadership, and what it takes to truly advocate for change. I am proud to say that during the next elections, I am looking into putting my name in the hat and trying to get on board to help this community. While I am satisfied with my current district's representative, Mr. Dwyer, I will be looking where to relocate to kind of keep the district in mind of where we're going to go. Great job. Moving forward, I do want to say I will be communicating with many of you through email, as it allows for more detailed solutions and ensures transparency in our dialogue and prevents our mission from being misconstrued.
But tonight, I want to focus on the positives. We've been working on ways to connect with our community, with the school district in meaningful ways. The conversations that we are looking into are with corporate businesses and local entities about creating mentorships, sponsorships, and opportunities for our students. These partnerships are a step towards bridging the gap between the school and the broader community to ensure that our children's futures are prioritized. Another thing I would like to add is we are working towards a monthly recognition for our student and staff of the Seguin ISD. We would like to be able to recognize those that put in the work as well. I have reached out directly to Jill Nash, who is the Director of Community Outreach within Seguin ISD, and I'm also excited about what she is doing and what her role within Seguin Education Foundation is and what it will bring to students and teachers. I am also working with her as well as others to bring partnerships within the district to bring those funds in so we can continue those programs for the students. However, as we do move forward with this, full transparency does need to be at the cornerstone of everything we do. I am calling for an agenda item to review financial transparency within the district. We need detailed, accessible information on the school website showing where funds are going, what programs they're supporting, and how the community can better understand this process so they can trust us again. Don't confuse this as a blame game, that's not what I'm trying to do. This is something that was brought up to me between many community members that they would like to be able to donate, but they want to be able to see where it's going. Additionally, I want to stress the importance of equitable opportunities for all students. Every child, regardless of their background or family connections, deserves access to these opportunities. They deserve to feel seen, heard, and supported. With this, I am contacting and working with our local schools to see what opportunities and resources I can help with. Tomorrow I will be going to Jefferson to see what they need that I can assist with. Lastly, I would like to take a moment to reflect on the Martin Luther King Jr. choir performance. As Levi said, we were there. It was a beautiful performance. I mean, wonderful job to the choir directors and the students. It was amazing to see and hear. It was a little discouraging to see the amount of people that would walk out right after their student was done. It was only an hour, and by the time the high school kids got up there, we could see them looking around at empty seats. And that was, and we've seen some kids walk out alone, and it was a little sad to see that they didn't have that support there that we should be providing if that's what we're asking from our community. We do need to start modeling the behavior we want to see. Accountability isn't just for children, it is for us adults as well. These programs are more than just performances, they're opportunities to focus empathy, respect, and unity. How can we as parents expect more if we don't show? That was almost Again, it is a small step, but it sends a powerful message in the values we want to instill in our students and in our communities. I do want to thank you guys for taking the time to listening to these issues with us, your willingness to engage with the community. There is a lot of work to be done, but we are looking forward to being a part of that change and working with y'all and not against y'all. I do want to end this with a quote that I found empowering. I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the waters to create many ripples. And that's what I'm hoping to do when I go and meet with these schools and the students and see what I can bring to make their life here better. Thank you guys.
Our next speaker is Jennifer Miller, and her topic is discipline.
I want to talk really fast so I can keep my emotions out of it. I want to start by thanking you for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. Many of you already know me and some of you know my story. Last week during a special meeting I shared something deeply personal and painful. I talked about the decision to pull my 4 children out of this school district, a decision no parent wants to make, especially when some of my children had spent their entire school years here up until high school. I've spoken with some of you who have expressed understanding and compassion for what my family has endured, and I want to thank you for that. The reality is there are children in this district who are causing harm, real harm, and they're being enabled by adults who are unwilling or unable to hold them accountable. These same children often have parents, grandparents who will advocate for them no matter their wrongdoing. But that doesn't make it okay my child was targeted. My daughter was assaulted August 23rd and September 10th within this district. You know what happened to my daughter, and you know it's really hard for me to share the details, as it not only pains me, but I don't want anything being used against my children. That's how intimidated parents feel. Mr. Podorsky and Ms. Jordan, who are assistant principals at the high school, I feel need to be evaluated and reprimanded. After the first assault investigation came back not bullying, Jordan was concerned but following Podorsky's lead. Podorsky's words were, "I'm unable to see an uneven power, so it's not bullying," because my daughter defended herself. So my husband and I asked, what do we do if we don't like what y'all's investigation comes up with? He told us his decision was final. They do a thorough investigation, so I simply had to deal with it. Despite the first assault, my kids still wanted to go to school because they didn't want to lose the friends that they had already made. But after my daughter was assaulted the second time, these student predators were taunting all three of my girls after the assault, saying that they wanted round two with the one that they had already assaulted and were going to assault my other two kids. Mr. Podorsky could have cared less, calling us unprofessional, and Miss Jordan took a picture of my phone that had my daughter's eyes swollen completely shut and gave me the same speech of, "We will put the necessary measures in place to keep your daughter safe." When I was about to leave the office, I then saw the first bully that assaulted my daughter right back at the school, straight out of juvenile detention. That's where I drew the line and withdrew all four of my girls. Both bullying investigations were deemed not bullying by Podorsky and Jordan. I know there are good administrators and teachers in this district, and I've heard about some of the positive changes that are being made. But the challenges are immense, and the communication is broken. The current reporting system has failed. It shouldn't take parents like me doing countless hours of work, spending countless dollars, and navigating a complicated and exhausting process just to keep our children safe. I urge this board to take immediate action on calling for an emergency review of board policy to separate bullying from assault. The failure to make this distinction is one of the biggest reasons that you haven't fully grasped the challenges parents, students, and teachers are facing. Assault is not bullying. These are actions that, if committed between adults, would lead to arrest and criminal charges. Yet when it happens in our schools, it's often brushed aside and called normal. This cannot continue. Some schools are handling these situations appropriately, while others are being made to acknowledge that the harm that has already been done is unacceptable. There's also the issue of what's being taught in the classrooms. My daughter was introduced to sexuality and gender ideologies and identities within this district, concepts that do not align with our family values. This caused her confusion and led to mental health challenges that made her even more vulnerable to the bullying and assaults that she's experienced. There needs to be accountability for what is being taught, and educators need to be better equipped to understand and support their students. I know the progress is being made. I know the administration is working hard to address these issues, and I'm grateful for that. But you, the board, bear a significant amount of responsibility. Some of you have been active, but some of you have been inactive for far too long. It's not enough to show up for a photo opportunity or to say the right things. You have to take action. You have to be involved, present, and willing to work with us, the parents and community members who are here to help. I'm calling on you to set up the community roundtable as you promised before the end of next month. We're all busy. We all have jobs, children, and responsibilities. But this is too important to delay any further. These roundtables will give parents like me and others who can't always come to these meetings a real opportunity to be heard and collaborate on solutions. Please reach out to me. You know my face, you know my name. I'm here to work with you, not against you. Pointing fingers in the blame game has got to stop. Some of you are doing great work, and I thank you for that, but others have been here far too long without taking the actions that is desperately needed. This is bigger than the current administration or the previous one. These issues have been building for years. Now is the time to address them, not later. Not when it's convenient, but now. For the sake of our children, for the sake of this district, and for the sake of our community. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Diana Ferris, and her topic is reflection.
I'll let you know when you have one.
Let's start? Okay. Good evening, Board President Crinden, and members of the board. My name is Diana Ferris, and I would like to share my unique perspective. I'm proud to have been born and raised in this community. As both a parent in the district and dedicated educator, I have a deep love for this community and strong commitment to its growth and success. I come before you today as the Seguin High School Associate Principal of Instruction, with 20 years of experience in public education. Over the years, I've had the privilege of serving as a middle school teacher, instructional coach, elementary administrator, and pre-K through 12 curriculum coordinator, supporting several districts, including Seguin ISD. I have worked under various superintendents, and I can confidently say that Dr. Behe's leadership is among the most impactful and transformative I have had the opportunity to experience. Her leadership, along with Principal Bettis' dedicated work, has been pivotal in shaping the success of our school community. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge and respect your leadership and the difficult decisions that you must make for the district. As administrators, we face many challenges: supporting students, collaborating with parents, managing staff, engaging with the community, responding to board expectations, and working closely with central office leadership. Every decision we make is driven not by the need to please, but by our responsibility to do what is best for our students to ensure the success of our schools. Leadership requires making difficult decisions, and while they may not always be popular, they are essential for progress. We are fortunate to have incredible teachers, students, and staff, and my goal is to bring out the best in all of them. Dr. Behe has proven to be an exceptional leader for Seguin ISD. Her experience, expertise, and ability to make informed decisions have been exactly what this district needed. Unlike past administrations that have often focused on pointing out our shortcomings, Dr. Behe and her team are hands-on, working with us to solve problems and support growth. She does not stand at a distance. She is in the trenches with us, collaborating to find solutions and strengthen our schools. This has been a challenging year. This is where I get emotional. One unlike we have ever faced. While there have been many concerns and complaints, we are committed to taking responsibility for our mistakes and working to correct them. Progress, however, can only be achieved through collaboration. If we truly want to make Seguin ISD the best it can be, we must unite and work toward a shared vision of success. When concerns arise, I encourage you to ask questions, understand why decisions are made, what factors influence them, and how they impact our campuses. Were campuses given an opportunity to provide input? How do these decisions align with the best interests of our students and staff? As administrators, when parents bring concerns about a teacher, we always ask, what was the teacher's response for your concern? Similarly, I ask that you seek all perspectives before drawing conclusions. Too often complaints are heard from only one side, and by gathering all the facts and understanding the full picture, we can make stronger, more informed decisions. Dr. Behe has brought a level of accountability to Seguin ISD that we have long needed. Holding people to high standards is never easy, but it is necessary for growth. With her leadership, we have the opportunity to build something remarkable for our students, staff, and community. We support her by ensuring that all voices are heard and that decisions are made with full understanding of their impact. Let us move forward together, committed to making Seguin ISD the best it can be. Thank you.
Our last speaker tonight is Carla Allen.
I'll let you know when you have one. Okay. Begin whenever you're ready. Good evening. My name is Carla Allen. This is not something I normally do, but I have been observing what's been going on for far too long. I'm a grandmother with grandchildren in this district. Grandchildren that I love dearly and worry about constantly. And quite frankly, I'm very concerned. There have been a few times I wanted to speak at these meetings, but I have held back because I don't want my emotions to get the best of me. But tonight, I just couldn't sit back any longer. For years, I've watched my daughter feel helpless, frustrated, and feel like she was constantly hitting a wall when all she wanted was to ensure her kids were safe and received the services that they needed. Services that Seguin ISD are required to provide. I've also heard from other parents and grandparents, and even from my own grandchildren, telling me that there's a disconnect, a huge disconnect between what is happening in our schools and the leadership in this district. Now, I want to be fair, and I love what I've heard coming into this meeting. I was very encouraging, the things that are being implemented. And I know there are great people in the administration and community who are coming together to make positive changes. But let's be honest, none of this progress would have started if it weren't for the voices that have been speaking up week after week, calling for action. To
To be frank, I'm not the only grandparent who feels this way. Many of us can't make it to every meeting. Some don't want their faces or voices out there for fear of being singled out or silenced. But let me tell you, we're here, we're paying attention, and we're not going away. We lived in different times, but that doesn't mean it's okay to let standards slip or allow things to happen in our schools that should never happen. There's no clear transparency, no clear accountability. This is something that I constantly hear and from community members of all ages. This isn't new. These problems didn't appear overnight, and I don't expect them to disappear. It will take work, and our community agrees that it has escalated over the last year. This is a role you choose to take on voluntarily, and while some of you are doing what you can do to make a difference, others are barely trying. So I have to ask, why are you here? We put our children in your hands and trust you to do that. We elected you to do this. I don't mean to be harsh, but the truth is actions speak louder than words. Used to, no one came to these board meetings. It took one voice encouraging another and another to build this momentum. Now, how many people have spoken up? A dozen? More? How many will it take for real lasting change happens? I urge you to start meeting with the community in a town hall forum that allows people to speak in turn, and safe in Seguin, make it 2 to 3 hours if you have to. We need to get together. I call for you to place on the next agenda a discussion to formalize being open and transparent. Have an official form of contact, and if you're up for it, the willingness to walk a student, teacher, or parent through the grievance and reporting process. It's the only thing that is going to hold some of the school administration, like principals, accountable to properly research and follow through accurately. We parents, grandparents, teachers, and even students, many of whom are scared to speak out, aren't going away. We're here to have accountability, hold administration accountable, and to push for the kind of communication and action that this district needs. I do want to thank the administration. I've seen them begin to make changes. I see them take steps to listen and respond. It's very promising, but let's be clear. We're working through challenges everywhere, and it shouldn't be this hard for them to do what needs to be done. So to you on the board that are trying, I thank you. But for some of you, it's time to step back and let someone else step in. If you're not here to listen, if you're not here to act, then honestly this position would be better left vacant. You can get upset, you can take it personally, but at the end of the day, it's not about feelings, it's about results. It's about showing this community, and especially these students, that we are here for them, not for yourselves. We have a long way to go. This is just beginning. Let's get to work. Thank you.
Thanks to everyone who spoke tonight. I know it's not always, public speaking is not always easy, so. All right. Moving on to reports and information items. First, we have Mr. Trevino presenting introduction of newly appointed administrators.
Good evening, Board President, President, board members, guests. It is my privilege to introduce the newly appointed administrators to Seguin ISD. I will begin by introducing Dr. Rubén Carrillo, the Chief Technology and Security Chief. That's redundant, right? That's the Chief Finance. He's going to come over and talk to you.
Good evening, Board President, Trustees. Thank you all so much for having me. Really excited to be here. As mentioned, my name is Dr. Rubén Carrillo. I'll be your new Chief of Technology and Security. Really looking forward to this new stage. I've been here for a couple of days meeting the team and have encountered some really wonderful people on the team, and really looking forward to the work that's coming, right? So thank you all very much for the opportunity. Thank you to Dr. Vigil and the team. and looking forward for the rest of the school year. Thank you so much. Yes, very nice to meet you. Thank you very much. Thanks, appreciate it.
Yes. Sorry.
Yes.
Can we take a picture really quickly too? Sorry.
Next, I will introduce Mr. Max Flores, the newly minted Executive Director of Human Resources, and we are extremely excited to have him in the district. Mr. Flores?
Good evening, and thank you all for this opportunity. Excited not to only get back home, but to be able to work in Seguin ISD. And you know, there's some challenges coming up and some hard work, but I'm really happy to be here and excited to get onto those tasks. So again, I appreciate the opportunity and get to work with a team here. Some of us are pretty new. I don't know between us. I don't know who the new guy is, but we're both excited to be here and ready to go to work. So I appreciate it and look forward to working with you all. Thank you. Start this side. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
No, we did not. I did not call him to wear a dark blue suit today. I promise you, I did not. Also, and lastly, I want to introduce in absentia Ms. Maria Guerra, the new principal at Jefferson Elementary. She is busy at work, so she couldn't make it tonight. Thank you.
You're up again. Personnel information, professional information.
Thank you, Board President Crittenden, board members, guests. I believe there may be an exhibit where we have the new professional employees in the district, some new teachers, and then also word acknowledgements for resignations. Do you have any questions? Thank you, everyone.
Next, item 4C, Learning Acceleration Support Opportunities, LASSO, Site-to-Study Updates.
We hear from Cindy Borden and Kathy Coker. And I don't know if you pronounce that lasso, but that was just the most fun way to say that.
Good evening, Board President, Board members. We're here just to provide an update this evening on some grants that we've applied for. We were moved to the next round for one of them, so we just wanted to provide you that information so that you'd be aware as we move forward. So Texas Education Agency, TA, has streamlined their grant process. So it's one application for several different programs. The ones that we applied for this year were the Strong Foundations Implementation Grant for our math curriculum, K through 12. And we did received that grant last year, but just for secondary math. So this year we're applying for both elementary and secondary. We also applied for a new grant that they are providing this year, the Strong Foundation School Improvement PLC supports. To qualify for that grant, it's our campuses that were designated under federal designations for needing some support. So that's why we listed Jefferson, Vogel, Breezemeister, and Worms. And then we also applied for a technology lending grant to help support providing us with some additional technology resources for classrooms. And then lastly, the School Action Fund. That's the one we moved to the next round, and we had an interview with TEA. And so that is to help with Jefferson and doing kind of a redesign type process. And it depends on how the grant was awarded as to what that would really look like. Just a little bit more on that, because that's the grant that's a little more in depth. That's just to help with really looking at the campus and the community there as a whole and seeing what they need. To be eligible, they do have to be a Title I campus and identified as need of improvement. And it'll help just with technical resources, different funding for professional development to support the teachers and the staff, and just helping them move in the right direction. Overall, it's the same staff. We're just looking at the school model, looking at master schedules, those types of things to make any adjustments to help support student outcomes. And really just looking at making sure that we can make those changes and make them in a way that's sustainable as we go forward. And then just a little bit on the timeline. We've already done the application. We had the interview last week for the second round of the Strong Action Fund. Tentatively, TEA said they'll announce on February 20th. So at that point, we'll know which grants we received and how much money. And then at that time, we'll be able to take a look at that and decide which ones we do want to move forward with and how we want to utilize those funds. For the Strong Foundation grant, for the School Action Fund grant, there is some board training that might be necessary, but it would be in a year. So not this February, but a year from February. So we also just want to make you all aware of that that's something that might come up. Any questions?
Could you explain the difference between the grant for Jefferson and the one that we already have, the program we have implemented at Vogel right now? Just people try to
I'll take a stab at that. They are both School Action Fund grants. The Vogel one was a redesign grant, so they chose to implement their AgroLay program, and they're using their funds for blended learning and implementing the new instructional techniques throughout their whole classroom. The Jefferson one is also a School Action Fund grant, and again, we're looking at the STEM program, implementing that in there so that we can get the students their higher engagement in the science and the technology and engineering and math. So they're very similar. They'll run the same way. We will have technical providers that will assist us with all of the components of the grant. They're just different activities, but it's the same underlying concept from TEA in a different year. So Jefferson became eligible because they are a Title I campus, and they were identified as in needs of improvement in the closing the gaps domain. They were not in that position when Vogel received grants. So eligible campuses shift from year to year. Does that answer your question?
I have a question. With these grants, is it one grant application for several different, I just want to make sure I was reading that right. So it's one grant that turns in for all of those different areas,
Yes, that's correct. Which is a little different than the way TEA has done grants in the past. They're trying to streamline the process and make it more efficient. So we may get all of them, we may get none of them, we may get some of them. And we don't know how much until we know.
Just had a quick question. So I see that it's going to end in June 2026 if we are granted. Is there a step after that?
It is possible that there could be a continuation grant that we would have to apply for. And Vogel right now is in their continuation year. So last year they were in the planning phase, so they planned for it, but we still had to apply for that continuation grant, which we did receive, so that allows us the second year. So I imagine it will be the same, but they haven't announced that in a timeline yet.
Thanks for your hard work.
Yeah, thanks for trying to find all this extra money. We appreciate
We're looking.
It's hard stuff, takes a lot of detail.
Thank you, we're happy to do it.
Item 4D, I-Station indicators of progress, ISIP data.
Good evening, President Crittenden and Board of Trustees. Good evening. We'll get through this. This is long, but good. Of course, it's our ISIP, which is our I-Station indicator of progress in reading. I posted our goal for House Bill 3 to increase the percentage of third grade students who are scoring at meets grade level or above on STAR from 36% to 55% by August 2027. I did add a couple slides just to kind of give a little update. It's been a little while since I've given what the ISEP station, test on, what the diagnostic is on. So we have decoding, language comprehension, and by second grade, third grade, we want them into that reading comprehension. Okay, so it breaks it down there, what the diagnostic test. Here it is by grade level, so we can see a little bit of data in decoding for kindergarten. We started the beginning of the year with 33% of phonemic awareness and currently at 48% in kindergarten. So I'll give you a minute to kind of browse over that. You can go down to first grade. Second grade doesn't test in decoding, they test in language comprehension. And so like the dotted lines in second grade with letter knowledge, that's tested in kindergarten, so you won't, and first grade, so they won't test that in second grade. So it just kind of shows you what's tested at what grade level.
So when it says 33% or 48%, that's 33% that are in the green part, or when you're looking at
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay.
I also added, just to kind of address Ms. Burns' question earlier on how the levels are, and here's the level. So your level 1 is the at below 20th percentile, that's your red, that's your tier 3 kids. Your level 2 is the yellow, below 40th percentile, and then 3, 4, and 5 are all at or above grade level. Okay. So I hope that kind of helps the next few slides. Okay, so if you're looking at your December, this is December, remember it's a 1 month behind. Your December comparison report for kindergarten Gen Ed, and this, I'll go into detail on the next slide. And then kindergarten for Gen Ed and dual language. This is all dual language in kindergarten tested, all in English. And those are your 3 levels, your tier 1, 2, and 3. 3 being the red. Okay. This is the same data as the graph slide, but it breaks it down into numbers and percent, so you can see it a little closer as to where we are. The other slide's a little smaller. So in kindergarten, you can see by broken down by school. The goal is to have a lower percentage than the state in levels 1 and 2. Okay, in levels 3 and 4, we want a higher percentage. I hope that makes sense. So our state average for level 1 and 2 in kindergarten is 52, and our district overall level is 44%. And over there, you can see under district, broken down by schools and number of students that are tested. Level 3 and 5, the state is at 48%, district at 55%. So kindergarten is meeting state goals.
So this is a cumulative report from the beginning of school?
Well, they take it every month. Okay, so it's a diagnostic. So yes, it should reflect as they're moving forward, and that'll I'll show you in a little while how they're moving up. Okay, it's all kind of the same data in different ways.
This report, those percentages, are those November's numbers?
This is December's test.
It's December's numbers?
Yes, not January's, December's. Okay, December's test. So on Gen Ed Plus dual language, I just want you to focus on the highlighted ones. Those are their dual language campuses. This includes all students testing in English. Okay, to include our Spanish-speaking students in the dual language class. This is all students testing in English. And then same data, same graph, but in first grade. You can see our green level, yellow level, red level. This is the same thing here, but in numbers. It's a little easier to see this way with your numbers. So for first grade Gen Ed, our state is 49%. We are equal as the district. We are 49%. Level 3 and 5, state is 52%, and we are 51% as a district in first grade. The green, I should have said in kindergarten, the green is outperformed the state. Okay, so those green boxes are schools outperforming state. Remember that this is a monthly diagnostic showing reading growth. Okay. Here's our second grade. Showing our graph by red, yellow, green. And then by numbers, here's our second grade Gen Ed. Level 1 and 2, the state is at 44%, district's at 54%. Level 3 and 5, where state is at 55%, and we're at 46%. So we need some growth. We need to keep an eye on our second graders to make sure they keep moving up. We have our green boxes, which is outperforming the state. And then our general ed students with our dual language students are highlighted in yellow, and that's all testers testing in English.
Why do you get such a sudden drop in?
Second grade gets hard.
That's what I was just thinking. I remember it from when I did it.
Yes, and I'll show you here in a minute. As long as they're growing, so they can still be in red and still growing. So they could have started off in red as the beginning of the year, and they could have grown in that red. And I'll show you here in a little bit. Oh, I went backwards. What did I do? This is our, I think I just repeated the slide. Yeah. Oh, here it is. Okay, that's what I wanted to show you. So here you'll notice this is our level 1, red, level 2, yellow, and then 3, 4, and 5 is our green. So if you look at kindergarten, if they started in August at the beginning of the year, that first X, those kids in December are still growing and moving upward. Okay, so you'll see a majority of those kids are heading towards that yellow zone. Okay, so it's still growth for their grade level because it's a diagnostic, so the test starts where they are and moves them up. So their projected growth till the end of the year, they should be well into the yellow, lower green. That's the idea. It's a diagnostic test. Remember, this isn't like STAR. This is showing growth progressively through the months. And then you'll notice our first grade too, they are all moving up slowly, and our second grade as well. Here's a little bit of comparison data from last year to this year. They are not the same kids, they're different kids, but there is quite a bit of change. So from last year, you'll notice the state was at 57% for level 1 and 2. This year, the whole entire state dropped. So the state this year is at 52%. Okay, our district last year was at 50%. Remember, we want to be lower than the state in level 1 and 2. Level 1 and 2 at the district level this year, we're at 44%. So the lower you are, the better you are. I know that seems weird. On level 1 and 2. You want less kids in those levels. You want more kids at grade level, which is your level 3 and 5. So comparison for your kindergarten and level 3 and 5, state last year was 43, state this year was 48%, district had 50% last year, 55% this year. And again, you'll look down at our second graders, and second graders do struggle a little more because it gets significantly harder. But you'll notice that our second graders will grow a lot in third grade. This is our dual language campuses, Kankakee, Rodriguez, and Patlan. This is students testing in Spanish. So again, same thing here. Remember the level 1 and 2, we want the percentages to be lower. In level 3 and 5, we want the percentages to be higher. Outperforming the state is in green.
So just to clarify, our dual language kids are having to take the test like twice, once in English and once in Spanish?
So our dual language kids take it 3 times a year in English if they are Spanish speakers, okay, or vice versa. They take it in their native language monthly. And we did change that this year. That hasn't always been the practice. They used to test both languages all of the time. But that's too much testing, so we just want to make sure they're growing. They don't have to test every month. Here's our first grade. And our second grade. Our green is outperforming the state, and our red, we're slightly above the state here, so we need a little growth there overall, and we're barely missing the mark at 3 and 5 level, but we're getting there. It's getting better. Next, I'll probably show it to you in March again, what that growth percentage is, so you can see the difference. I just need time for the kids to get better. And our overall kindergarten through second grade. And here's their growth chart in Spanish, the dual language students' growth chart. Oops.
A question on the different schools. There's some of them that are consistent in some of the different months of not getting into the green per se as well. I think you've told us before, but just refresh my memory. Do all schools have the same curriculum?
Yes.
But not methodology?
No, not necessarily. So some schools have some schools have permanent substitutes. We don't have their vacancies, teacher vacancies. So they're actually doing very well for having, yes ma'am. And there's only a couple slots on there, but that's some of where the dip is.
I was just curious, like I've heard different ones doing different things in their school as far as methodology is concerned. It's really working well at one school and something's not working in the other, you don't.
Sure, the teachers shift. Sure, the teachers have that autonomy in their classroom, what works, what their personality of the classroom is. Every classroom has a little bit different culture depending on teachers, so teachers have that autonomy to work with their students.
So before we move on to the freckle, like talking about the RLA, because that's what iStation leads into is RLA. This is obviously first semester, fall semester data, right? Because we're in January, we haven't tested for January yet. All the testing we hope to do December. So have we like really looked at this data and come up with a plan for what we're going to be doing the spring semester in these classes to bring these numbers up? Especially in the campuses that are like, kindergarten across the board. Yeah, kindergarten looks pretty great across the board, but it's kindergarten, right? So, but like first grade, there's a couple, three campuses in first grade struggling. Then we go into second grade, and there's more campuses struggling. So, is there a plan, something in place to address this?
So the way that we rolled that out is after looking at school data. So in our last principal meeting, we did ask principals to come up with a plan as they look through their data, what their tier 1 instruction looks like and how they're supporting their differentiated instruction. So I wish I could pull up some of that data and some of the work that schools have done just since we've started back in January. I'm going to call out Vogel just for a minute because I was there yesterday. We dug into their data. And so she addressed the questions that we gave her at the principal meeting, right? So look at these things and come up with your plan. And that is what Vogel did. And so they've been able to identify students in need, be able to group them, and they've created intervention time. And they have separated their students into different student groups with different teachers. So then the teacher, we walked into a classroom yesterday, had only 8 students, right? There were some other students were with another teacher, and so they kind of partnered up and they grouped their students by level and gave them the needed instruction for those students. So they were able to isolate some of that intervention time to address some of the needs that they saw looking at all of their data. I hope that's a good example, just to kind of, so principals do drive that. We kind of pose the questions, give them the data, give them some collaboration, food for thought, some brainstorming ideas. We let them work through it. We support them on the data piece and giving them some strategies. And then they come up with their plan, what that looks like on their campus and how they can make that work with their teachers and staff.
Are some of the students struggling with the same type of
Sure.
that are being tested?
Sure, yeah. You can usually group them within levels, just like this. Like you have level 1, level 2, 3, 4.
And how are we ensuring that the teachers are effectively fidelity teaching the subject where the students are lower?
Well, that's where your principals come in, that's where your instructional coaches come in, and your assistant principals come in. That's where we come in to support them in triads and talk about, give them feedback, and to ensure that all of that is happening. And it's hard work. It's good work. It's hard work. It's coming. Me being a principal, it's amazing to see your teachers in action and to see that work implemented and the outcomes. And that's what's happening with these principals. The principals are doing the work. It's hard work, and the outcomes are going to be happening.
So just coming back around, so we gave them all the information, the principals meeting in January, they're out doing their work, and then when you guys are going around doing your triad meetings with them, you're following up with them and seeing what they're doing, the plans that they're implementing.
Correct. This is iStation Map.
One more quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there something we can do to support that? Is there more funding that you need for special programming, or could you go to get the students up to where they need to be?
I appreciate that. We applied for some grants. We just heard our presentation, so we're hoping that we do get some extra funding. But I'm sure principals would have a different answer.
Do you use signage after school to do some tutorials, or is that you guys have time instead?
After school is usually extracurricular. There are some professional development that they can do or they go to, but it usually is activities, students need some fun. Okay, let's get through this because we still have a little bit to go.
Important.
Yes. Okay, here is your ISET math. And this is our kindergarten. Same graph. We have our red, yellow, green. We have our level 2. And math across the state is always a struggle. So Seguin is not being left behind. Just math is hard. Okay. We do have some really great growth in math and some pockets that we are outperforming the state. So our green again is outperforming the state. And we're close. We're getting there and we're moving forward. So schools are doing a great job there. Remember, this is a diagnostic, putting the student where the student is, okay, and then moving the student forward. That makes sense? Here, I skipped first grade. Here's our first grade. Overall, level 1 and 2 for state is at 34% in first grade, districts at 47%. Level 3 and 5 is at 66%, and state is at 53%. We have some good pockets there of green outperforming the state. Here's our second grade ISET math. And then here shows the growth from our students from the beginning of the year to now. So where the students started at the beginning of the year in August for each grade level and their continuous growth. So as long as those lines are projected up, there is growth with those students. Okay, so that's what we want to see. We want to see that line going diagonal and up. For second grade, no, ma'am.
Because 18 and 15 is very different from 52 and 35 over in the right-hand column.
Yes.
It's just that, I'm used to seeing some difference with that. Just very large.
So obviously lots of work at Jefferson.
Yes,
lots
sir.
of retention.
Yes, sir. And then here's our overall growth charts from August, October to December. And you see your kindergarten, your first, and your second. I'll let you all look over that because there is growth and the kids are moving up. Okay. Our Frankel Math, this is our middle school campuses. They are not done with their middle of year testing, so I decided to give you some Frankel Math, which is more of standard aligned practice in math. Okay. So here are the differences between your sixth graders. They start where the sixth grader level is, and they grow from there. So you'll see here the same kind of concept as your iStation. You have your red, yellow, and your greens. Your greens are those students that are improving. We don't have any comparative data in their fifth grade cohort because they start this in middle school. Okay, but I have comparison data. So the sixth graders are doing very well. Out of your 278 middle schoolers in sixth grade, you have your grade level students at 133 and 47. year one. Here's your 7th grade. This is by cohort, so you can see the growth between them as 6th graders and now currently 7th graders. So as long as we're moving towards more green, those students have more growth in math. This is an adaptive platform, so it adapts to where the student is and helps them grow from there. Okay? As soon as we're done with all of our MOI testing, I'll give you the middle school, middle of the year data for math.
Is this a strong indicator on how they will do on STAR?
Yes and no, because this is a intervention platform. So it adapts to the student. So it helps students with skills that they need in order to get to their grade level math. It's aligned to the standard, but it starts where the student is. Does that make sense? So if I need to learn 1 + 1, it's going to start me there and move me up from there.
It all builds from there.
Yes. If they already have that down and they start in fractions, then it starts and builds up from there. Does that kind of give you a little perspective on how that works?
Is this the same, is this used the same for like our regular math to our advanced math, or like even like in 8th grade?
The intervention.
Our intervention? Is this the same intervention for all of the different levels? Because I know that there's math and advanced math.
Yes, because it's adaptive.
And then we have like, this also includes like, this data also includes like our Algebra 1 kids?
Yes. Remember that it's adaptive. So it'll start the Algebra 1 kid where the Algebra 1 kid is. Okay.
Just want to make sure we're capturing everybody.
And this is, remember, more of a practice. It's not the diagnostic. Okay, it's not testing, it's just their practice time. I wanted to give you a little bit of middle school math because they weren't done with their middle of year diagnostic testing yet.
When does that happen?
It's happening now. It's because Barnes fell a little behind because of,
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I got for you.
I have some questions. All right, so K through 2 takes ISIP in English and Spanish. What does 3 through 5 take in English and Spanish?
RenStar 360, and I'll show you that next month.
English and Spanish.
Yes.
And they just took their, can you explain that? You explained it to us.
Yes, I explained that. Okay, so we just got RenStar right before the semester ended in the fall. Okay, so our first time testers tested probably, some tested in December and some are testing now. So everyone's required to take the test now in January. So those testers are testing. So 3rd through 5th are testing.
And then
When we got, let me just explain, when we got iStation, 3rd through 5th weren't able to log in, so we had to adjust. That's why we have RenStar.
And then math, 3 through 5, what do they take?
Same thing, RenStar 360. And that's just for the diagnostic.
And then 6 through 8 grade.
They take RenStar 360.
Do they still do freckles for?
Yeah, that's that practice. That's what this is.
But for the English?
Yes.
And then, in the older grades where they might have word problems, they only test in English or for math, or do they test in Spanish?
So everybody tests in English.
Okay, for math.
Yes.
Okay.
Lower grades, they test their, like our dual language kids, test their native language.
In math?
In math, yes. Except for 3 times a year. We do a beginning of year, middle of the year, end of year for our Spanish speakers in English.
And then
Was
for,
that- did I
for our
do that
English
good?
speakers in Spanish?
Yes, for dual language. Yes.
Sort of comment. Thank you. That's a lot of data. Thank you for putting it together, and we'll be expecting.
Thank my team. really help a lot. Yeah. Other questions? Awesome.
I have one question. Sorry, it's on page 20 of, I don't know if it's easy to scroll to it, of the update.
I don't have pages.
That is the ISEP Lectura Temprano overall reading.
Uh-huh.
Those trend lines.
This one, this?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, there's some concerning trend lines in there. If you just speak to that a little bit.
So if you look at your kindergarten, you're going to look at I'm going to look at kindergarten. Okay, so you see that some of your green students kind of drop down a little bit into your yellow. That could be circumstantial. It could be a lot of different reasons. So we'll look for this graph in the next couple of months that those lines change and project upward. Okay, so for this one, Mr. Ariola and Ms. Gonzalez can look at individual students and work with campuses to see what students we need to attend to or what students they need to focus on. Campuses already do that as well. We would just follow up. Then in first grade, you'll see that trend line in yellow that kind of dips down a little bit. So same thing there. We want to be able to pay attention to those individual kids to see what the circumstance was on that testing day. It could change next month where they're all going up. So sometimes it's circumstantial and sometimes it's a larger need. And so we need to kind of, I like to say, know your students, know their needs, right? And really get down to the bottom of what that student needs and what that student's missing. So does that help a little bit?
Awesome. Any other questions? Thank you, next, we have the new format of monthly financials.
I'm at Crittenden and Board of Trustees. The financials are something that have been on the consent agenda. However, we've changed the format of how they look and also kind of broken it into two things instead of one thing. And so I kind of wanted to just give y'all an opportunity to look at the new format, see the changes, and kind of explain it to you. We're trying to make it, for one thing, easier to look at. Maybe less on one page, but not take away any information and also make it easier to interpret quickly when you look at it. So I printed off the prior financials so you could have it on paper. I'm a paper person. It's easier for me to have two pieces of paper, and then the new format is in your board packet. So this is the old format. It's like a little packet by your monitors with a paper clip on it. And the first page just has the functions on there and what each of them is for. And then the second page is the old format, and then the new format is a one-pager. There's still one page for each fund: general operating, child nutrition, and debt service. They've all been changed in the same way. So looking at the new format, I'll just kind of tell you what's on there and then point out what the difference is from the old format. We still have the original adopted budget on there and the amended budget. So the adopted budget is where we started the year, back when y'all adopted the budget to be in effect for July 1. And then it's been amended a little bit as the year has gone on. So the most up-to-date amended budget is in the second column. And then we have the year-to-date actuals, and that will be for both revenue and expenditures. In the old format, we did have the adopted and amended budget, and then we also had our budget amendments in the next two columns. I really feel like those need to be more up to date, and the board should be approving those separately. The financials are more meant for information, and ideally you put the financials together after you've reconciled the bank statements, and that doesn't happen on January 1 for December, the month of December. We're still waiting on cash receipts to post to accounts from campuses so that we can post them correctly to our ledger. So the financials are always going to be a little bit farther behind, and the budget amendments need to come to y'all before they happen. So if people are moving money between functions, y'all need to see that before it happens So those are separate now. Those are not in the financials. So then we also have, after the year-to-date actual, prior we had the year-to-date, the monthly activity, and then the ending. And just kind of felt like that was redundant. So now we have the year-to-date for the end of that month. So you're still getting that information. And then we changed the last column, rather than an amount remaining, a percentage remaining, or percent that you are up to that point in the year. So sometimes it's really easy to kind of think about, okay, we're 6 months through the year, so, you know, we're gonna be about 50% through a lot of things. There are always gonna be exceptions to that. You know, we pay for curriculum, we pay for a lot of materials, hopefully early in the year, because we're gonna use them throughout the year, so we shouldn't be paying for them at the end of the year. So you're gonna see more than 50% there. But it kind of gives you a good gauge, maybe an opportunity to ask questions. You know, why don't we have 50% of our revenue? You can maybe ask questions that other people might be wondering in the community. We also added expenses by object. So about halfway down the new format, you see.
Which one's the new format?
This is the old one.
Uh-huh.
The one in the packet.
I understand, but we're seeing it.
Can you scroll down, Jeff?
That's all I have. There you go.
Let's see. I can't see very well. Sorry. That's the new one right there. Thank you, Jeff. So about halfway down, you see expenses by object right there. There's black on top, black on the bottom. That is, the board only approves the budget by the function level. So things change within objects frequently. It's very common. And the board doesn't approve it by that level, but I think it's important that y'all are looking at it. I'm looking at it that way because I want to see where we're at on payroll more than anything. That's a really big player at the end of the year. It's not as simple as we're 6 months in, we've paid people half their money because we have people that are on different contracts. But I do some calculating to figure out where we're supposed to be. And we are right on budget with the 31% in salaries expended. It's always hopeful that it's not, it's less, you know, because you want to end the year with some money left in payroll. But we're where we should be on payroll. And then the last part is the fund balance information that y'all are used to. Since we do still have some assigned fund balance items that we're trying to work our way out of that carried over from the prior year, I wanted y'all to see those on there. So I don't feel like you lost any information from the prior report, but we just kind of wanted to make it easier to interpret quickly. And I have old eyes, so the bigger numbers like change my life.
I like it.
So, but.
Uni's not a financial, Uni's by any means, this works for me.
Okay, good, thank you. And if y'all have any questions? Or any feedback, whatever.
I do have one question.
Yes, sir.
Unassigned fund balance?
Yes.
That's still out there?
Yes, sir.
Is that $30,000 for the welding shop upgrades?
Yes, sir.
Has that money been spent, or we're just waiting for
Yes.
someone to bill us for something?
No, so y'all assigned that at the beginning, or I don't remember what month it was, yeah. But yes, it was assigned and it has been paid. That project is done. So the way that Seguin always did their budgets before was you had a budget that you approved, and then kind of like on the side there was this assigned fund balance. And it, you know, it's not wrong to do it that way, but it was always kept separate from this budget, and I would normally have seen it in the budget showing the full budget deficit. So it's a little, I mean, I would love to see that part go away on the bottom after we pay for everything. But for next year. The QZAB is going to be there, of course, because we still have payments left. There's 15 of them. But typically, you know, the baseball, softball field complex, that's a good thing to assign fund balance to because, you know, you knew you were going to spend $1.7 million on it, and that's a pretty big number. But for annual recurring expenses, it's best to put those in the regular operating budget.
We need to have a party when that QZAB is over.
Man, we do. We do.
Because
Yes,
I
ma'am.
love the percent collected,
Mhm.
it's been added. If we could have it also, what percent of the budget period are we through?
Oh, like the number of the month?
Right, so
Yeah.
that we're not getting our
July,
calculators
August,
to figure
September,
out that we
November.
are
Yeah,
36%
so
through November.
5 divided, yeah, by 12, yes, I can, I'll put that up top somewhere, I'll make it on there, yeah. Anything else?
Kudos to the people who pay the 1% of property taxes.
Those numbers will start going up substantially. Okay.
Thank you for that.
You're very welcome, thank you.
Item 4F is new vendors.
So this is just an informational item where we have given y'all a list of everyone that has been added as a vendor. They have responded to bids that are out there, and you may see people on here that have been vendors for a long time. They just responded to the most recent bid. So they are now approved to be a vendor for Seguin ISD again.
Moving on to 4G purchases made over $50,000.
This is also an informational item. The first item is Layer 3 Communications. This is associated with the replacement of our district firewall, which also involved updating equipment that was originally acquired in 2015. It was essential for stability for the, as the old firewalls were failing. I'm not a technology person, so if you have more questions, that someone else in here could answer on that one. Same with NetSync network selections, is also a technology purchase. This was our annual licensing for phones. This past summer, we added 500 licenses to accommodate the replacement of campus phones. Don't have any other questions? Okay, thank you.
It is 8:49 p.m. We'll take a 5-minute recess and then adjourn into closed session. Pursuant to the following sections of the Texas Open Meetings Act, pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071, 551.074, 551.129, consultation with legal counsel, including possible telephone consultation with legal counsel as necessary to address legal concerns, implications, and answer any legal questions regarding posted agenda items. B, pursuant to Government Code Section 551.074, discuss personnel matters, including appointment, employment, evaluation, reassignment, duties, discipline, or dismissal of an employee. C, pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.072, discuss the sale, purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. And D, pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.0821, deliberation regarding public school students. That took me so long, now it's 8:50. So we'll take a recess till 8:55 and we're ready to close session.
Second.
We're back at 9:39.
You can check.
PM. We have no action to take. Moving on to the consent agenda. Policy BE local states that the consent agenda shall include items of a routine and/or recurring nature grouped together under one action item. All such items shall be acted upon under one vote without separate discussion unless a board member requests that an item be withdrawn for individual consideration. The remaining items shall be adopted under a single motion and vote as applicable. A, approval of board minutes for special meeting December 11th, 2024, public meeting December 17th, 2024, regular meeting December 17th, 2024, and amended minutes, regular meeting January 23rd, 2024. B, approval of tax collection reports for December 2024. C, approval of proposed budget amendments for November 2024. D, approval of proposed financial statements for November 2024. E, approval of donations received December 2024. F, approval of investment report for the second quarter ended December 31st, 2024. Seguin ISD resolution regarding the Office of Governor's Truancy Prevention Grants. H, acknowledge Public Information Act request December 2024 to January 2025. Any of those?
Madam President, would like to move to remove item E, approval of donations received December 2024 from the consent agenda.
Alright. So that would be, we do that one first. Yes, okay.
I'll second that motion.
No, you just
Oh.
pull it. Yeah, it's not a motion, you just
Oh.
request it.
Good evening again. I went ahead and put some detail for the donations at each of y'all's spots so you could see what we receive in the business office. Every month, our policy is that the board receives donations, specifically if people request that it be used a certain way. So I made y'all a copy of each of these donations, and I can go through each of them, or however y'all want me to do it.
Honestly, Ms. Oaks, if you could just go through real quick how someone could come in here and make a donation.
Okay.
And how that would work, that process, I
Yes.
think would be awesome.
Okay, so a lot of times these end up at the campuses, and the campus secretary, principal, whoever, we have a donation form on our website that they use, and there's an example of these in the packet that I gave you. And they fill it out, they put who they are, then the amount, and if they want this donation to be for a specific thing, they can put what it's for. So like this first one, for example, is for 2nd and 4th grade end of year field trips. So that tells the business office that this $500 deposit needs to be added to their budget for field trips. So we make sure that it gets used for what they ask for it to be used for. The campus will give a receipt to the person who made the donation as proof that they did, and we process it from there. Is this information available to the public on our website? The name of the people who give the donations and the amount? No, ma'am. The donation form is on our website. I'll check and see exactly what it looks like, though. I couldn't tell you for sure. I'll find out.
So let's say that the Queenie 2nd and 4th grade don't go on field trips. For whatever reason, like $500 wasn't enough to cover all the 2nd graders and all the 4th graders to go. There's no other budget money for field trips. What happens then?
Well, typically when they give the donations, the principal, it's a need, and they're planning on doing it. So if the money doesn't get used, then it just doesn't get used. But when they give the donation, it's usually because of a conversation between them and the campus. Sometimes the campuses ask people for money depending on what it is. You'll see like the solicited and unsolicited. Like these first 3 are unsolicited. There's one that says solicited. So the high school must have asked
for donations for a faculty holiday luncheon. It doesn't mean they don't have the money for the holiday luncheon in their budget. They have money in their budget, they just aren't planning on using it for that. It wasn't in their plans for the year, so they might have asked for a donation. And then this person, or actually this was 3 people, donated money specifically for the faculty luncheon, and the campus already knew how much it was going to cost. So.
Are some of these items run through Jill Nash's department?
Yes, ma'am. There are a lot of donations that go through the Seguin Education Foundation.
Well, that in her position with the school district, I mean, that's why we created that position to help fill the gap for things that.
Yeah, you don't see the big donations on these reports typically.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And that's because they're solicited, mainly because they're solicited and we don't have to.
Yes, and when they go through the Seguin, they don't have to be approved by the board.
Do the Seguin Education Foundation.
Yes, sir.
Or the band boosters, or the sports boosters.
Yeah, so correct.
Or any of those clubs that help us outside of
They have their own
Peter,
accountability.
who can get money.
Yes, sir. Those do not come through the school district. Those are not under our governance.
And we approved them because we could say no if someone wanted to spend $500 on glitter.
Exactly.
For kindergarten, and we were like, we would rather not have $500 worth of glitter for
Yes,
kindergarten.
and I wish I had the policy memorized, but it basically says that y'all are responsible for making sure it's in line with the goals of the school district. It's a very good point. Thank you for saying that. Anything else at all?
Madam President, I move to approve the donations for the month of December.
Second. All right, I have a motion from Mr. Bright and a second from Ms. Duncan. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
We'll move on to the rest of the consent agenda, unless someone has any items, any other items.
I move that we approve the consent agenda items, except for the one that we've already done.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, without,
What's the donations?
with E, so, A through D and F through H. Do I have a second?
Second.
I heard Mr. Guetta first, so that's a motion from Ms. Miller and a second from Mr. Guetta. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes 7-0. Moving on to action items. The first is discussion and possible action on baseball and softball field complex signage. And that's Oaks.
Okay, so we gave y'all 3 options. These were all designed by Florin Popa, our architect, and I apologize, he has been very under the weather, so he is not here tonight, but I will answer whatever I can, and if I don't know the answer, I will get with him. But 3 options, there's cost associated with each one. I'm happy to answer any questions y'all have if I can.
Is there a suggestion from staff?
So everyone was kind of, I get very different opinions on these. So no.
Okay.
There's not.
Can you explain, so people at home will understand, like why we put up the first sign when we have
Oh, yes, ma'am.
that, so that people understand?
Yeah, so the design for the ballpark was done a very long time ago. The Matador, I mean, I got here in April, it would have been done probably a year before then when they designed the complex. These do take a long time to produce, even though it looks like it's just letters. The way that they're attached, the way that they're made, it's going to take us a few months to get this in. So the sign was already being made when the decision to name the ballpark something different than ballpark. So that's why it's up. We have option 2. That one is at no cost, and the contractor is gonna work with us some, because we did tell him, in the process of the sign being made and put up, and they don't want us to incur any more costs than we need to. So they're working with us on all of them. And these are just approximate amounts. Labor is the biggest part of this. The way that they're attached is time consuming.
Madam President, I move to approve option 3 for the Matador Legends baseball park.
I'll second that motion.
All right, I have a motion from Ms. Duncan, a second from Mrs. Burns. Is there any discussion?
I'd like to just make a statement that, well, I thought it's unfortunate that there's a $15,000 cost associated with adding legends to it. Both other options have legends in cursive, which I feel like is an antiquated language. It doesn't really speak to our high school kids. And so having something in all caps that is it better fits the high school, the feeling of high school.
It was just aesthetically pleasing to me. And I want to finish it out.
I just have a question on option 1 versus option 3. Option 3 says replacement of all letters and additional light fixtures. So does that mean that option 1 has no light fixtures?
So I'm gonna give you a Florin answer, even though he's not here. I think that there would be additional light fixtures in option 1, and I think he just didn't think about that. It would be, because I think just knowing how it's set up, I think there are additional light fixtures in both of them. I'll verify that I'm not telling you wrong. The biggest cost in option 3 is because there's so much expansion in the amount of space and the number of letters. The legends, it's a kind of, modern, artsy take that, they were trying to do it for no cost or a lesser cost, so.
So where would the funding come from for this?
Come from the general fund. We do have money, so as part of the unassigned fund balance, the overage for the ballpark, it would come from there. Yes.
It's having a hard time to fit it.
Right, exactly. And we'll get an exact amount once we get a quote and more details on the labor, now that there's a choice.
Any additional questions or comments? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-1.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, our next item is 8B, approval of school calendar for the 2025-2026 school year.
Good evening, Board President, Board of Trustees. Here is the school calendar for next year, 2025-2026. So I just gave you a little debrief on the process that we go through when getting to the final school calendar. It does go through the DEIC committee. We give them some non-negotiables like state days that are required and winter holiday, Thanksgiving holiday, things like that. And then we go to, after discussion with the DEIC committee, we draft up 3 calendars. On November 4th through December 2nd, the DEIC members go to their campuses for feedback. Then on December, they come back and provide that feedback. We administer updated draft calendars with all of their feedback in mind, So we drafted 2 calendars that went out for vote on the online survey window. It went out on a survey monkey. We had over 1,000 people vote. This breaks it down. This breaks it down a little bit for you. We have the green as students, blue, purple is parents, and then Seguin ISD employees is the blue, the light blue. So there's who voted and how many of them voted. And you'll see down there it was over 1,000. And for our Spanish voters, we had 31 parents vote overall. This is just the breakdown of the survey. These were the 2 calendars that went out. Oh no, this is this year's calendar, our current school year. And compared to the proposed calendar, I also gave you a copy of that proposed calendar so you can see it a little clearer. There are some small changes. You can look at August, our entry date for teachers, our October holiday. Then we can look at May. There was changes around Easter. And we go into June for any makeup weather days.
What was the rationale used for adding a fall break?
That was the feedback that came through schools that DIC brought to the committee.
Was that parent-driven or staff-driven?
So DIC consists of staff and parents.
Do we have parents that serve on that committee that also maybe work in a related field that maybe does shift work?
I don't believe that we have too many parents. I think maybe we have 1 or 2, correct, Cindy?
And they don't attend
Regularly, yeah. They're invited. We have the committee members. It's just them not attending regularly. So it's hard to speak to that.
I voted as a parent.
Yes.
Before I was on the school board, I believe, before I actually was in the details. I had a very hard time distinguishing between the 2 calendars.
So there was very small differences. It's the fall October break difference because they didn't have a full week on the first calendar and they didn't start August 1st and didn't go into June. Okay, so like right now we go in like with this proposed calendar that was voted on. We start on August 1st where this
Staff starts on that.
correct.
Students don't start till the 12th.
Correct.
So that was the same start date for students on both calendars.
Correct. Correct. It was just, see, yes, it's 1 day difference because they want a full week of November, that absorbs some of those days. So we have to have 187 days for teachers. That's their contract. Okay, so absorbing that full week in October kind of eats up some of those days, so they have to come in earlier, stay later.
The second calendar had like a 4-day holiday for fair weekend.
So the second calendar had the 9th. Yeah, I had the 9th and 10th. Thursday, Friday, off. And I think it had the Monday.
Yeah, it was like still like 5 days, but it was
Yeah.
3 and 1. It was 2 and 1 versus the 5 work days, 5 week days.
Do they look at, I'm not entirely sure my answer, but I'm going to ask it the best I can. The spring break, is it aligned with other districts in our area, Rivera area?
I can't speak for the other districts, but I can tell you that our spring break aligns with TLU because of our early college. If we didn't align it with our partner university, those teachers and students wouldn't have any time off.
St. Philip?
St. Philip, sorry.
Okay. And that's the same as TLU, or?
Yes, yes. They are the same as our local colleges. TLU at St. Philip's.
So tell us what happens when we don't align with St. Philip's.
Our early college students still go to school, and our teachers still work that week.
Great explanation, Dave. Any questions?
I just have can you tell me, remind me again, how long we had this survey out for parents to take?
We extended it a week, so it was 3 weeks total.
3 weeks total. Just by my kind of easy calculations, with 7,200 students and the amount of parents that took it, it was only 70% of the parents gave their feedback.
We reminded, we did send out more notifications.
I know, I got them all. I'm just making it noted that only 7% of the parents actually gave their input into our school calendar.
It may be a higher percentage, because like for me, I only took it once, but I have 2 students. You probably only took it once.
Well, there was 2 parents in the house.
Oh, the only birds in my house then. But I think it may be a little better than that, because some households won't.
Probably still less than 10.
Right, it was mostly staff,
Well, even staff, only like 51% of staff.
right?
I have a bit of a parliamentary question here, because there's something that I would like to see added to the calendar, and that is the graduation date.
So that was a proposed calendar that we developed between all of the feedback. We developed a calendar, so the proposed number 3 had graduation off, and it did not get in. It came in third.
Of graduation. So when someone's looking for, when does Seguin graduate? What is that date? Can we not add the graduation date to the calendar? Not that it's.
Not getting it off. I got you.
Right, just when
Yes,
it's
we can do
graduation.
that.
Just noting what day it graduated.
What day graduation?
Yes, that's
Because
easy.
That's what we're all working towards, right? And
Yes.
So
Yes,
I'd
ma'am.
like to make that amendment to the
Okay.
calendar, but if I need to wait till there's a motion and then amend it, or just approve it with the addition of the graduation date being added to the calendar. Okay, I move to
Yeah, that-
accept this calendar with the addition of the date of graduation.
Yes.
I have a motion from Ms. Duncan and a second from Ms. Miller. Any discussion?
I have concerns about school, about the children, the week of October 6th through 10th, without childcare, and it not being a traditional holiday, about a number of our students that will be left in situations that would probably not be ideal and be unsupervised. So I have a concern about that week without having a strong rationale for that week.
I don't have a strong rationale. I mean, this goes out to vote.
Do we reach out to I know for instance, the city will do a jam like on spring break or on another. Do we reach out to the city and ask them for dates like this?
Did
I
they do
can.
it during intercession? So, I mean, if we reach out to them, I bet that they would.
I can. I will.
Any further discussion?
Just wanted to put that rationale
Sure.
came from a committee that no
Yes, this is-
or community employers are a part of.
They're a part of it.
They should, they're not.
Correct. Yeah, this goes through DIC committee. It's all driven. So all the calendars proposed is all of their feedback that develops the proposed calendars. We just make sure it's the allotted minutes, instructional minutes, and calendar days for a teacher.
It seems to me this is a lot of power that we're putting on a committee. Have a workshop on this, or have additional discussion to finalize this calendar. It affects a lot of people.
Well, that's part of the process, that's the policy that we have, is that we put it from DIC, DIC gets 3 calendars from the administration, they talk about it, and then DIC comes up with 2 calendars, then we put it out to the community to vote, and when the community returns that vote, and based off of the vote from the community, they present us with the 1 calendar that got eliminated down through that process.
From what I understand, that's the way Seguin has always done their calendars.
That's what our current policy states. So based off of the feedback from the online voting from parents and staff, and very few students, this is what's presented to them based off of our current policies.
But we do have the option to come back to this in a future board meeting.
We do for this calendar. Are there any certain deadlines that?
So the deadlines is a PEAMS deadline to move forward with master scheduling, bell scheduling. I mean, preferably earlier is always better, more planning, but we could bring it back in February.
But I think regardless, right now, we have a motion and a seconded motion to approve this calendar, so.
Right. We're still just discussing. But yes, there's options. There's also, I think we could look at the process for this, for the future as well. Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand.
I didn't hear the second. I heard Duncan was the motion. Miller, okay.
Thank you. All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes 4-3.
Thank you.
Next is personnel action, professional employees, Mr. Trustees.
Good evening, Board President, Board members. Have a action item with regards to personnel information for professional employees. We recommend that the Board of Trustees approve the appointment of contractual employees as listed in the exhibit.
Are we able to show?
I do not recall. There's not a presentation, so it's just,
Any questions for Mr. Trustees? I'm trying to get to the right page. My computer took a holiday. Sorry.
Madam President, I move to approve the appointment of the current contractual employees.
second.
Is that how it's, sorry. Okay, as listed, correct, right? That is a motion from Mr. Dwyer and a second, is that you?
Yes.
And for Mr. Bright, any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes 7-0. All right, also Mr. Trevino. Personnel action, professional employees.
Yes. We recommend that the board approve the appointment of contractual employees recommended in January 2025.
Any questions?
Also move. Second. Yeah, I so move that we approve personnel action for those specific professional employees. Second.
Do you get that, Nancy?
I did not.
Okay.
Grace motion, Larry second.
I I didn't hear the motion clearly.
It's the motion.
What's the motion again?
To approve.
For D, to approve personal action on professional employees, letter D.
As listed.
As listed. So
So-
that was a motion from Ms. Miller. Did you say?
I did.
And a second from Ms. Duncan. Any discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes 7-0. 8E, possible action to approve superintendent's evaluation estimates.
Good evening, President Crittenden and board members. I'm happy to be back here again once more to discuss the superintendent's evaluation tool. So after last week's meeting, I had a conversation with Mrs. Crittenden, and the first two sections of the evaluation packet remain the same. So the law and the policy and the student data from the commissioner's tool, those have not changed. The changes came into the performance objectives section. So I was asked to remove all reference of the timelines for each of the performance objectives. I was asked to remove the detail in the rubric and leave the rubric open, so it's a 1 to 5 measure based on your personal judgment for each performance objective. I was asked to include spaces for your comments to the right of each performance objective. That way, when you are presented with a packet of evidence or data that supports it, you have a place to jot down your notes and maybe a justification for your scoring. Then there was space put at the bottom. I think Mr. Dwyer pointed out that that was left off of the last one, that the box at the bottom for superintendent comments, so we included that. And then finally, we were asked to include 4 lines on page 27 that were selected out of the superintendent's job description. So those were added. And those are all of the changes that were made.
Any questions?
Ms. Orr, can you, you're the one that's gathering the evidence,
It'll be a team effort, yes.
Team effort. With removing the year, which evidence would you gather?
We will gather the most recent STAR data for example, the first 1, 2, 3, 4, for goals 1, 2, and 3. We'll gather the most recent data from the taper report, last year's taper report, and we can include a year prior to that so that you can see a historical trend line and see how the data moves throughout the years. We can go back 3 years.
And then at the board workshop, we had chosen some things like benchmarks.
Yes.
And things like that. So that remains, you just took it out of here for space.
Correct. Yes. Everything that was, I'm sorry. Yes, we did remove that. The pieces of data, they will remain the same, but we removed them out of here because you've seen them already. So we did talk about including the December iStation and MOI data so that you could compare what it looked like in the end of last year to December of 2024.
They just took it out for space, but we didn't change, we didn't
Correct.
make any modifications to what y'all saw that last, as far as with that. They'll be asked for at the first board.
And we will be able to post online a delayed version of this? Of this one?
We did put it in the board, we did put it in the public board packet, so it's been posted.
Okay. You're right. Yes, it is.
After this point is when we can
there any further questions, Madam President? I move that we accept the superintendent evaluation.
Do I have a second? All right, I have a motion from Mr. Guerra and a second from Mrs. Miller. Is there any discussion?
I would just like to know that while I think that the additions made to page 8, the last page of the evaluation tool, adding the 4 other sections of the superintendent's evaluation was an improvement over the past version, I still feel that those pages are cumbersome in nature and hamper our ability to limit our focus and provide very clear goals and evaluation to the superintendent moving forward.
I feel like we will do that as part of the evaluation, and that will be the final product from our evaluation.
Any further discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes 6-1.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for all your work.
Yes, yes. We gave y'all quite a task and quite a timeline, so we appreciate your help. It's our pleasure. Thank you. Do I have any board comments or requests?
I have a statement I'd like to read. Here at Seguin ISD, as we sit up here as a board member, we hold the privacy and well-being of our students and staff members in the highest regard. We understand that issues may arise within our school community, and we want to reassure you that we take these matters seriously. While we are committed to addressing concerns and maintaining transparency, we must also respect the privacy of all individuals involved. As such, we are unable to publicly comment on specific issues or situations. Additionally, we recognize that members of our community may choose to discuss and share their perspectives on social media platforms. While we understand that these platforms can serve as a space for open dialogue, we want to emphasize that the school district cannot respond to or address specific issues through social media. We kindly ask that you continue to use the designated reporting methods provided by the district to ensure that your concerns are properly documented and addressed. This approach allows us to maintain the privacy and well-being of our students and staff while promoting open communication and fostering a collaborative environment. Your trust and cooperation are essential as we work together to maintain a safe and supportive learning environment for all. We thank you for your understanding and continued support in upholding these values within the Seguin ISD community. I thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brett. Any other comments or requests? I'd just like to say thank you to the campuses and departments who gave us these wonderful tokens of appreciation. It's a constant reminder, you know, when we wrap up in a blanket or open up one of these things or hang them on our wall of the wonderful campuses and students and staff that we serve. So I say thank you for all that, and I'm sure my children will be looking for sweet things in there. Anything else? I will accept a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Second. All right. We have a motion from Ms. Burns, a second from Ms. Duncan. All in favor? Raise your hand. Motion passes. We're adjourned at 10:18.
I need signatures of all trustees for the